to the Tre-J show. This is our final episode talking about social media. We're going to just kind of wrap things up. As usual, this is Dave and I'm Andrew. And as I said, we're going to wrap up our conversation about social media tonight. So I'll let Dave get things started here.
Mainly, we just want to kind of look at social media as a whole, some of the positives and some of the things that we really, being diligent on, and the dangers that have come up in our conversations. And some of them that have come up more recently through different things that have happened through social media. So I think what I want to do is just kind of hit on some of the dangers right away and get your thoughts on it. One of them is, and Facebook's working on it, is live suicides that have happened via Facebook and even YouTube Live to some extent. And especially you see a lot of teenagers that are struggling with different things. Start with that. There's another part to the suicide I want to hit on too, but first, that aspect.
Yeah, it's something that nobody could have predicted when YouTube started their live service. For people who don't know what it is you can now stream live video, whether it's through your cell phone, through a camera you've got hooked up to your computer, so right through YouTube. And
Facebook has the same.
Yeah, Facebook has it, YouTube has it. But yeah, both of them have it, and they're both running into these issues of, obviously teens are in very bad situations as far as their mental state goes, stuff like that, who are using this for their suicide. So they're showing it live, and I don't really have a lot of thought on it. Like, it's obviously a bad thing. Because everybody who commits suicide has a different reasons for doing it. And suicide is always it's somewhat planned, but it's always a spur of the moment thing. Typically when somebody's in that point, a lot of studies in psychology, studies and stuff have shown that when people are at that point of, I'm going to commit suicide, if you can actually change their mind right at that moment, it'll be a long time before they go back to the suicide. It's a very spur-of-the-moment thing, and I think this live is giving them a way to kind of rub it in the faces of the people who they feel are responsible for where they're at in their life. And it's really a bad thing, and I understand that both of the services are doing what they can to prevent it from happening, but that's really the only thoughts I have on
it. Yeah, it's a tough thing, and this Facebook Live and YouTube Live, there's a lot of good uses for it that can be out there, but they're also now having to struggle with how do we balance that and then keep this serious stuff off of, so that, well, one, you don't want all these copycats.
Yeah.
You don't want to sensationalize, copycats, and you don't want it to become this this thing that, oh yeah, no, there's this new great medium I can use to, deal with these struggles and the emotions and the mental state that's going on as they're dealing with this just complete devastation that the people are feeling as they go with it. The other side of that is, along with that you see a lot too, is suicides that are caused because of bullying that is caused by social media. There's a lot of youth and a lot of teenagers that are struggling with this and have a lot that's going on with that, and can attest in just to bullying and what it, just the devastation that's done to them in their lives, and it happens so prevalent on Facebook. There's a story not that long ago straight out of Michigan here. I'm not want to keep it vague for the sake of privacy in the family. Where a young boy, 13 years old, committed suicide via a prank caused by some fellow classmates who pranked that his girlfriend had committed suicide, and they fleshed it all out. And what that did to him was the point that he actually went through with it. And now there's a young girl who got arrested for causing this, and but that's all caused by Facebook. And then you got the parents of the kid, in society and everybody else in it. Well, what where did we short circuit, where did we go wrong, and how do we help these people? And how do we get this message out there to these kids to, to the parents of kids to be relevant for what's going on? So, that's one thing that parents, is where I want to dovetail into, is parents being super diligent in what their kids are doing on social media usage. It's hard to be a parent these days because of, it's hard to be able to really censor what your kids are doing and keeping tabs on them because of cell phones and all this, mobile devices that they have in their pocket,
Yeah.
So, and yeah, they might friend you, but then teenagers are really good at finding ways to, like teenagers themselves don't use Facebook like they used to. They're using other mediums for kids to communicate with each other. That's still social media, like Instagram and that kind of thing, where their parents aren't at. They're not friends, to do that. It's hard because as a parent, you want to give your kid the freedom, but at the same time, you got to be super diligent so that you can catch these things before these pranks and this bullying gets so far that it's hard to bring the kid back, to be able to catch that and,
Yeah. Yeah, just advice to the parent is it's very difficult, as Dave was saying, to monitor what your kids are doing. It's so, with teenagers this year, and nowadays, as opposed to even when I was in high school and middle school, there really wasn't a social media yet. But so much of their lives is built up into social media these days. What they're doing, it's how they communicate with their friends, it's how they communicate with their teachers and their peers and coaches, and everybody communicates through these forms of social media. So it's, you can't just be like, well, I'm not going to let my kids use social media until they're 18, then they can because you can ostracize them just by doing that, and because it's so how they communicate about things and how they get involved with so much stuff is through their various forms of social media. So, it's just kind of one of those things where it's very difficult to just ground them or ban them from it to protect them from the bullying, but then you could also be leading to other forms of bullying because they're not involved in these other things, or the kid could start feeling that just alone because they're not able to communicate with their friends and their peers because they don't have they don't have the social media, they don't have Facebook, so they don't get the updates on what's going on, whether it's a school or with a team or a theater group even. A lot of those type of things have their own groups on Facebook, and that's how they communicate with each other. So.
And I want to just end the dangers by talking a little bit about what, for youth workers, and those of us that work with teenagers, parents, part of what we can do is being diligent with what the youth under our leadership are consuming. They're in trying to connect that and bringing in, how does that look from a faith-based perspective? What is Jesus calling us to do in these things? And how should we react, and how should we be there for each other, teaching those things to them and being really open and honest about that and making it super relevant to them so that they can see how the two connect. Because as a follower of Christ, everything I do resonates Jesus and shows Jesus, and that includes my my social media usage and the things I'm posting and the things because everything you post says something about you, and helping kids make sense of that. And when the bullying's happening, to be able to turn to somebody, their parents, you, whoever, to get through that, work with it, get things rolling on how to help them before it becomes a mess. Now, so from us, that's what we need, a lot of what we need to do. We're running out of time, so what I want to do now is talk about a lot of the positives and end it on a positive note, social media, and the benefits that are there, and more or less the reason why we're all on it, more or less. So, let you have some words on that one.
I would say the main benefits are just the ease of communication. You can communicate with a large group of people more or less instantaneously, because Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of them are available on your cell phone. Nearly everybody who has a smartphone, and they have access to those things right in the palm of their hand. So if I want to communicate with a whole group of people, I can put all 20 of them in a group message through the Facebook Messenger, or on Facebook itself through a group, or just send a tweet to those people or whatever, and they can instantly get it, and that's a great thing. They can pull it up and like, I have this, so I don't have to necessarily have their cell phone number or, we can be that extra step away from, you don't have to be as close to somebody to communicate with them, but they can still get that message. It makes it so great to, or if information is changes, and like you have a date for something or a time, it's like, well, we're gonna meet at 6, but we're actually bump it back to 6:30. It's so easy to quickly get that information to everybody who's coming because they're almost always connected through some form of social media. The other great things are some amazing marketing tools for getting your word out there. There's not just Tre-J, but other Christian groups use the social media to help spread the word of God, which is an amazing thing that you can do with these tools, is you can get that message out there and people can find it so much easier than just like going door to door or trying to, you can help bring people into you instead of having to go find each individual person.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like, you look at Facebook, there's probably a lot of people that you're friends with that are more acquaintances and you may not have even talked to for a few years, but when you post things like a verse or something, they know you from somewhere, that's why you're friends. So you can so they're making that connection to you, and it's more, relevant to them because they know the person, they know who you are, as opposed to like the door to door or whatever, just making that random connection to a stranger. It can really be a great tool for that. As well as like Tre-J's leadership uses it to communicate about these episodes and everything else throughout the week. Just throwing those ideas out there, talking about this, talking about that. You can just makes it easy to disseminate that information to multiple people and set these groups up and group messages and stuff to do that.
All right, and
You said 10 minutes, sorry.
So it's like with that, after we make some phone calls and some texts to really important people, we can post a couple of pictures on Facebook to the more masses of people we know out there to get that information out there, and people can have instant access to a couple of pictures instead of months down the road or asking you to mail them one or whatever. It's just real nice that way. So in conclusion, really what I want to point out, and the main thing is just being diligent with your own usage of what you're putting out there, what you're talking about, what you're doing. But not only that, being diligent on the people that matter to you and keeping, seeing what they're posting. And if it's getting to some concerning stuff, reach out to them, connect with them and be like, hey, we need to talk. We need to get more what's going on. Why are you posting this? Why are you, doing this instead of just reading it, rolling your eyes, and going on to the next thing, and the next, You can see some of that stuff, and if you see bullying going on, tell someone so that they can connect with, whoever's being bullied. And get, people shouldn't have to go through that ever. And if we're diligent on what we're posting and what people that matter to us are posting or being said about, we can catch that stuff, can be caught early, and the people that are doing it can be disciplined for it, and the ones being the victims can get the help they need.
Yeah.
So,
I think, along with just final thought on the bullying, be aware of what you yourself are posting, because you may not realize the impact something you're posting can have on somebody else. Because you may not it's so easy it really is easy to bully somebody and not realize you're doing it. You may think it's just fun joking around or just messing around with them, like, he knows it's a joke, but they may not. It may be hurting them a lot more than you realize. So it's just kind of being aware of what you yourself are posting as well, because you could be affecting somebody without even knowing it.
So yeah, that's pretty much our conclusion on social media. Stay tuned for our next topic.
Yeah, be sure to let us know in the comments what you think, what your thoughts on social media are, and how do you use social media. Be sure to subscribe. Let us know what other topics you'd like us to talk about in the future.